folks. Here we go. Glad to have you on our way with our first day edition of the Red Letter Edition. Don Harris, your host. Glad to have you. And gee whiz. Looks like I ended the last week. Did you hear last week's show? You really should have heard last week's show, especially if you're a dad, because it was our Father's Day tribute. Is that a tribute? I have a tendency to talk about what's wrong, and I really don't want that reputation, to tell you the factual truth of the whole matter, because we really have a pretty clear understanding of where things are going, and we all can feel ourselves going in a circle. We're not really sure whether we're circling a drain or we're swimming around like the tidy bowl man. But we do know that we are in a circle and getting kind of dizzy, and we hardly need anyone to tell us that that we are in trouble, or we hardly need to go through the list of things that are a problem. We really hardly need to do that. And I think that if we're not careful, we can just find ourselves getting wound, just winding ourselves so tight because we talk about the problems all the time, that we could come up with an incorrect assumption that there's no hope. And friend, that's not true. Not at all. That's not true at all. There is hope. There is a wonderful hope out there. There's a wonderful hope. And I know I have a tendency to be too simplistic, but there's a reason for that. People don't understand, real severe complexity. There's some people that like to have their problems turned into complexity because it alleviates them from having to deal with whatever problems that they see they may have. And therefore, if we have a severe complexity, it alleviates our responsibility. And I can my mind is racing because I do a lot of counseling. I talk to a lot of people about a lot of stuff, and one of the things that shows up a lot is when people will say, they'll say, well, when they want to talk about whatever problem that they have, they will quickly tell you, well, it's more complex than that. Well, usually when somebody says that it's more complex than that, what they're accusing you of is oversimplifying the problem. If you oversimplify the problem, then you're laying a responsibility on me that I could quickly remedy this, but this is so going to cramp my lifestyle that I'm not so going. Oh gosh, I got to get away from television and YouTube. It's just people just talk like idiots anymore, and I'm afraid it sticks on us because, well, basically we're idiots, and we like the sound of whatever it is we say, and we end up like saying like what they like do. And oh boy, I would love to do a show on this it's a Quaker concept, and I don't mind anybody who knows what Quakers used to be thinking that I'm Quaker. I have no trouble with that whatsoever. Yeah, you want to call me a Quaker? What Quakers were 150. If all you have is a modern understanding of it, then please don't call me a Quaker. You can. Nobody would accuse me of being a universalist, but anyway, there's a Quaker concept of meaning what you say and saying what you mean, and I think that there's a whole element, there's a whole chapter in that book about just sounding like you've got a brain in your head, and just not speaking like the world. Sometimes their particular lexicon, and they get upset with you. Why don't you just say it plainly? Well, which in a lot of cases just means dumb it down. But the truth is that we need to be very careful about what we say, and I mean, to the point that we pay attention to it all the time, like all the time. Anyway, but did I just chase a rabbit? You little cotton picker. I wasn't looking where I was running. I don't know how to get back to my original trail. But I'm just afraid that, I've thought about last week's show. I've thought about it every day, all week long. And I'm thinking, I didn't do that. Did I? Did I say that there's a problem and not tell you there's a solution? To the point that I went back and listened to the show and I thought, well, it's in there. The solution is in there. But did anybody get that? It's really, again, it's the same thing. I keep finding this in my area of teaching on righteous living and teaching what I call true Christianity. And I hate to put the word true in front of Christianity. Anyway, but I've noticed that as I counsel with people and such, one of the favorite things that people do in order to alleviate their own responsibility is to say, well, it's more complex than that. And you're just oversimplifying. Well, look, I'm oversimplifying because there are some simple things that we can do to make differences in our lives, in our children's lives, in our marriages, in our social orders, and in our relationships at work. And all these things are absolutely available if we will actually use them. We can really make huge inroads into a better what would you call that? It makes inroads into righteousness. Righteousness is another thing that it drives me buggy. We have relegated the word righteousness over into some religious category, and given it a value, an unattainable value, by the way. I don't know that you could walk up to a million Christians and ask him if they're righteous, if he would get an answer other than no. But righteousness is just right living. It's just the right way to do things. And it takes, in order to live righteously with other people, I can live righteously with my lawnmower. It doesn't give me any sass whatsoever. I keep its little blade sharpened. I keep its little bearings greased. I change its oil. I make sure it's got fresh gas in it. That's living righteously with my lawnmower. But I don't know how much good that does. Now, people, that's another thing altogether. Can't change their oil. I've tried. I think that somehow we get discouraged with people because what works with this person doesn't work with that person. What's said to this person is not taken like it is when you say that to this person. Same words. You can mean the same thing. It doesn't matter. But they don't hear it the same way. So what does that take? That takes understanding. And when, frankly, that's something that just a whole bunch of us ain't got. Is understanding. We don't understand. Now, on the other hand, on the other end of that spectrum, this is all introduction, by the way, you can have so much understanding about, you can understand a person so well and so deeply that you can see, you can hear, you can feel, you can almost taste and touch the fact that this person will never come out of their situation. I was talking about this yesterday. How do you take somebody who's 60, 70, 80 years old and they have lived their life in such a way all these years to cause almost, and it's so almost that you could essentially say all and not be in fear of being wrong. They've lived in such a way as to cause all of their problems and their heartache and their troubles in life. And you really think you're going to fix that in an afternoon? They won't live long enough to fix this. So what do? Same thing you do with a cancer patient or somebody with some debilitating disease that is just not going to be cured. There's no medication, there's no operation, there's nothing that you can do. You know what you do? You make them comfortable. Just get comfortable and stay comfortable, because you're on your way out. Friend, I don't want to ever speak disparagingly of understanding, but understanding is a two-edged sword. Sometimes I wish I didn't understand. Sometimes I wish I could sit around and cry baby with you and just pat your little bum and just pull your head over into my chest and hold you and say, I want things to be better. But I know darn well they'll never be better. You won't live long enough to fix your problems. So, why are you telling me this? Because the Bible says where there's life, there's hope. That's why. You screwed up your life? Is it really a huge mess? You don't know why you do what you do or say what you say or act the way you act or feel the way you feel. You really don't know. You get up one morning and it's like you go to the mirror and find out what mood you're in. Friend, you've caused this. Your wife doesn't know what to expect out of your mouth. Your husband doesn't know what to expect out of your mouth today. Your kids, they hope that whatever mood you're in is a good one because they don't know. And it's because you've lived your life in a certain way up until now. It's a serious problem. And one of the things that the church has been so good about, if you want to call it good, is declaring to you without equivocation that it's never too late. Friend, that's the biggest lie you have ever been told. When you feel the gravel come out from under your feet and all of a sudden there's wind whistling by your ears at 32 feet per second, you're falling. And it's too late. There is such a thing as too late. But the good news is things don't have to be that way. They don't have to. All right, time for our break. We're going to be right back after this. You're listening to the Red Letter Edition. Stay tuned for more. Got all kinds of wonderful things coming your way, especially if you're a daddy or a husband or a man. All right.
I know it sounds funny, but I just can't stand the pain. Girl, I'm leaving you tomorrow. There is trouble in my mind. There is dark, there's dark, and there is light.
You're listening to the Red Letter Edition, Don Harris. And I guess I left off wanting to tell you that How do you tell people there's such a thing as too late and it not discourage them? Well, it has to be followed up with there's hope. Now that, hope is wonderful, but friend, let me tell you something. Hope is absolutely powerless to change you. Hope is a wonderful thing. I don't know that we could live without it, but you should know that hope is essentially a powerless thing. It cannot fix anything. Now, as I say, the church has screwed us up so badly on definitions of words. You talk about simplification. You take the word, a beautiful, wonderful, life-changing word like righteousness and turn it into sinlessness. You just put it way out of the reach of mankind. Oh, I'll never attain righteousness. Why not? No, why not? Why don't you mow your backyard? Well, there's anthills back there. I want to get rid of the anthills. Well, why don't you get rid of the anthills? Well, because I've got exposed roots back there. Well, why don't you get rid of the exposed roots? I've got weeds back there. Why don't you get rid of the weeds? There's just so much work to do. No, that's not true. You're not willing to take the first step. And you're using the complexity of your problem to keep you from having to do anything. Do you really think that backyard is going to look better next year than it does this year? Really? The thing is, you don't care. Now, that doesn't sound very hopeful. All right, here's what I want you to know. That sometimes that the lack of hope can cause a person not even to try. Well, sometimes I don't know that it's not true all the time. So hope has its purpose, but it is faith, honest to God faith, that makes a difference in somebody's life. How can that be so? Because, again, here's another word that the preachers have destroyed, is faith. People don't know what faith is. People think faith is what you feel when you rub a lamp trying to get a genie to come out of it. You need to believe in something. You can believe in a Ouija board. You can believe in all kinds of stuff, and it doesn't do any good. Why is that? Because that's not faith. Faith is an obedience to a word from God. It is an obedience to a word from God. I'm compelled to say it a third time. Have you got this? If you're settled on the fact, and I hope you are, that the Bible is not the word of God, it's a wonderful word. It's a wonderful book. It's a wonderful gift to modern mankind. I love it. I live by it. Okay. I'm not speaking disparagingly at all about the Bible, but you need to hear the word of God. And, because we live in this spooky world, this kind of, what is it? It's an esoterical kind of our faith is a spiritual thing, and it really has nothing to do with the physical or whatever. We just have a tendency to push it so far out of our reach that we can't reach it. We can't have hope. And that, frankly, we don't even try. Don't even try. Do you know I had the Lord tell me to shave once? You've heard me talk about these thugs sit around where watching football and haven't shaved in 4 or 5 days, and they don't understand why things aren't, joyous in their marriage. You know what making sure that you're clean shaven and you don't stink and that you look somewhat presentable every day. You know what that is? It's unrighteousness. You won't find that in a Bible dictionary. Because you see, those times, I know you're looking for some big spiritual revelation, or God's going to expose some deep, dark mystery to you when you spend time before the Lord. But he very well may be telling you things like, you're going to have to tie those shoes. If you don't, you're going to end up falling flat on your face and asking me to heal your broken nose. Okay, I make this stuff up, but the examples are so plenteous that you could just pick anything. Friend, you're living a life of destruction. You're causing the problems around you. You're causing them. You'd either have to believe what I'm saying right now, or you're going to have to believe in the boogeyman, the devil, who's chasing you around and causing troubles and putting little clouds over your head. He couldn't give a damn, and he's got them to give about your, your well-being or your wrong being. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because people left to their own devices will get on that ever descending smooth road that leads them to destruction without help. They don't need cancers and financial reversals and their house burning down or what. They don't need all these tragedies to take them away from God. As a matter of fact, the devil's a whole lot smarter than you are. He knows that those kind of things thrust us to the throne of God and put us on our face exactly where he doesn't want us to be. You don't have to be a theologian to know this. It's just an obvious fact. We don't learn until our butt stings. That's just the way we are. Why would he do that? Why would he throw us into a situation that causes us to throw ourselves on that rock and be broken? He's not going to do it. So quit blaming the devil. These problems that are coming about in your life are your problem. They are your problem because you created them. I know you didn't do it on purpose. I mean, what kind of an idiot would do? I'm gonna develop this habit so it'll destroy my marriage in 30 years. No, nobody does that. But they find themselves in these situations, and if they are spending time before the Lord, he'll show them. This is why this happened. You're carrying this into your next marriage. You're carrying this into every relationship you have. Why does it surprise you that you can't keep a wife? You can't even keep a job. Why are you surprised about this? You're going to sit here and pray? Is that what you're going to do? You're going to ask me to fix this? I can't fix it. And as a matter of fact, I won't fix it because we haven't fixed the problem. You can mop and mop and mop and wring out mops and carry buckets of water and bail and bail and bail. And if somebody walked in and saw you working your butt off and you're just wildly trying to clean up a mess, they might ask you, have you ever considered turning that water off over there where that pipe is broken? Did that ever occur to you? Or are you just going to mop the rest of your life? Because water is going to continue to come out of this pipe. Listen, God's not an idiot. And if your problem that you have, I don't care what it is, sickness, illness, poverty, relationships, not being able to get along in the social along with relatives or what, I don't care what your problem is. If there's a chance that the securing, the turning the water off, if that's in your grasp, that's the only place you're going to find God sending you. You go to the Lord about a busted pipe, he doesn't tell you to get a mop. That's not his way. That's not what he does. And what his way is to fix these problems forever. But sometimes you'll find it's like peeling an onion. They're just one layer after another layer after another layer. I see people quitting some kind of a habit that they have. And, I haven't received anything from the Lord. What are you looking for? You looking for a miracle? What did the Lord tell you to do? Maybe he's given you an onion layer. He's trying to help. But these problems are in layers in your life. These are not tiny little things. These are big, expensive things. And we just have to be honest and look at them properly. And these problems with the relationships, families, husbands, wives, kids, your troubles on the job, financial trouble, friend, you owe it to yourself to find out where this problem is. It's going to be uncomfortable because I'm afraid it's going to be embarrassing in some situations. But let's stick with it, shall we? All right.
I can always find someone.
Got a break coming up.
They sympathize if I wear my heart out on my sleeve. But I don't want some pretty face to tell me pretty lies. All I want is...
No, you don't want to do that. Here's the line, guys, and I don't care if the women hear it because they all know we lied to them. Say, you always look so nice. That's the great one, man. That one works just almost every time. Well, perhaps it won't work now. I just ruined it for you. But I guess what I'm saying is that there's little things that we can do that are sincerely generated, and never ever does acting work. I would have to say that there are certain situations where acting is almost necessary, but it's always agreed upon by husband and wife. You walk. Here's the deal. We'll continue this later, but when we go in there, everything's fine. Okay. And so, I mean, there is such a thing as pretending. There's such a thing as acting. There's such a thing as, just going along to get along. Those kind of things exist. Not saying they don't. I'm not saying they're even dishonest. But, among ourselves, especially among the ones we're trying to develop relationships with, there has to be some kind of honesty. I don't know that people understand so much that they are wasting their spouses. You're wasting your parents. You're wasting your children. Do you understand what I mean by this? I don't know. I don't know if I'll try to explain, but there are men with undiscovered and certainly chained, restricted talent in certain areas that are just absolutely unappreciated. And the smallest amount of appreciation expressed to him will bring it out. True for women as well. It's true for all of us. We all need encouragement. And we all know fake encouragement when we hear it. So how are we going to fix this? You're going to have to change. Sorry, but you're going to have to change. And the older you are, and the deeper inset your problems are, the harder you're going to have to work. For several reasons. One of them is, old habits die hard. And sometimes it's, we answer questions. We deal with the situation pretty much like we dealt with it last time. Instead of stopping and saying, I'm going to try to understand this situation. And ladies, if your husband ever wants to understand, you've got something wonderful to work with. Because many of them, because they didn't know, because we all married as babies, little horny babies that, are, getting married for all the wrong reasons. And, we start out our life because we just can't wait to get started in our life. Who wants to wait to 30 before they start their life? Well, anybody who wants a decent one, that's who. But, there's certain, I don't know, situations, there's certain ideas and characteristics and such that just come with time. There's no way around it. They just come with time, and you're not going to get them any other way. So, well, what are we going to do? You're going to have to make little changes. Do you want to make little changes that from the list that your wife gives you? Or do you want to make changes from the list that your God gives you? You know how many times you want me to ask that question before you absorb what I'm saying? Your wife has no idea, contrary to popular, parlance. I feel like I'm a man. You know what, sister? Shut the heck up. You have no idea what it feels like to be a man. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you have cut off or sewn onto your body. You have no idea what it's like to be a man. And you guys that feel like you identify with the woman, you have no idea what it's like to be a woman. None whatsoever. What you do have an idea of being like is a queer. Somebody that has way too much money, way too much time, because they obviously don't need to make a living. They obviously are, being paid to, protest in colleges or whatever else they're doing. But most of our problems can be fixed by just going to work. Go to work. You want to know what it's like to be a man? It's to live under the curse that came on mankind in Genesis. You will work by the sweat of your brow. When was the last time your brow sweat? There's nothing more therapeutic for a man than to build and create and to repair and to fix things up, and nothing more therapeutic than that. Nothing. So there are just little things you can do. Whose list are you going to operate under? You're going to operate under your nemesis list? The person who is upset with you or hates you or whatever their little thing is they got going on, you're going to operate from their list? Or do you want to operate from the list that the Lord gives you, no matter how ridiculous it is? I mean, I've received orders from the Lord about things that I'm thinking, why does he even care? How is this a problem? Like, for instance, don't eat any more white bread. I love white bread. I mean, I don't know. I bet the stock dropped in Wonder Bread. I know you hate it. Yeah, I know. It's very uncool to eat bread made from enriched flour or whatever else they do to it. I don't know. I love Wonder Bread. I always have. But when the Lord says walk away from it, I walked away from it. And it was months later I realized, that was a problem for me. It was a drug for me with a high and a low attached to it. I didn't know this. I had no idea about nutrition or anything else. This was so many years ago. But you know what you do? You hear and you obey. You hear and you obey. It's the old song, trust and obey. That's what it is. But what you have to realize is obedience to an order, a commandment, a suggestion is absolutely essential. It's crucial. It has to be done. So, who are you going to listen to? Now, listen. Did I just tell you to listen to me? I guess I did. When I speak from this, when I shoot from this particular holster, people have a tendency to mistreat me in the way that they think that I've got all this under control. Friend, I'm not telling you anything except the advice that I have gathered for myself. No, I haven't followed all these things correctly and properly and completely, but you go for it every day. Now, here's the beautiful thing about obedience. Here's the hopeful thing that I want to get across to you. You can screw this up so badly. And as long as your heart is right and that you truly are a servant that obeys his Lord, you want to see God activated in your life? Do you want to see problems supernaturally fixed? First of all, you need to know that whatever pitiful compliance that you did display is probably has not fixed anything. But the God you obey injects his power into a situation, and I've seen him fix it. He'll fix it. And he comes behind you and cleans up, as long as you're sincerely trying to obey him. This is all predicated on taking time every day to hear the voice of God. All right, friend, we got this. Okay, good. We're in good shape on the break. All right, we're going to continue after this. You're listening to the Red Letter Edition, and we'll continue along these lines. Learning. All right. See you in
Welcome. I'm Don Harris. This is Red Letter Edition Live.
Hey, if you don't want to make any decisions in your life, you want to let some preacher run your life, let me run it for the next 60 minutes. And when I'm all done with you, I'll give you back. I don't want you forever. I see what your life looks like, and it really stinks. You're going to make a change today. I'm sick of handing you this decision. I have left this with you over and over again, and you're not doing it. I have asked you, I have pled with you, I have given you examples. I have made you mad, I have made you cuss, I have made you cry. I have done all that I know to do. I have read you scripture. I have given you historical examples. I have given you scriptural evidence. I have taught you what faith is, what hope is. I've taught you what logic is, how to logically deduce something to be true, not true, fact, or opinion. I have done everything I know to do, and you're still not doing it. What is wrong with you? Come on. Can I have your life for the next 54 minutes and 2 seconds?
It's Red Letter Edition weekdays every morning, 6 a.m. on TRI Radio. You're listening to the Red Letter Edition.
Lord, I hope this day is good.
Well, we're talking about the stick and the carrot, are we not? And, for years, I misunderstood the term stick and carrot. Can I share this with you? I used to, the stick carrot is a what do you call it? It's a simile. It's a metaphor for trying to motivate your donkey to do what he's supposed to do. And I used to think that stick and carrot, I just used it in the wrong way when I came back on. I used to think the stick and the carrot was the carrot is the incentive and the stick is for the donkey's butt. So you're either getting whipped or you're getting rewarded, right? Actually, stick and carrot, just for your own edification, is it deals with hope, and the little picture that it's supposed to draw in your mind is where a guy takes a long stick and hangs a carrot from a string and ties it to the horse's head or his neck or whatever, so that the carrot is always out in front of the donkey, no matter how motivated he is to get to it. He's not going to ever get to it. But they say that if the stick is too long, like if the carrot is too far away from the donkey's face, it doesn't interest him. So you have to make the stick short enough. You have to make hope close enough for him to become incentively. Oh boy. All right. You get it? Oh boy. I feel sorry for you folks. You got an idiot for a for a teacher today. What is the word? What would you say? Anyway, he has no incentive to go after the carrot because it's too far away. And I think that if I can try to salvage me misusing this carrot and stick analogy, oh, thank God for post-production editing, huh? No, I don't mind you finding out how dumb I am. It's not a secret. But I think what I've tried to lay out for you is that there is such a thing as hope, and there is such a thing as too late. And so, we need to know both of these things. However, if we want to push ahead with the proper use of the stick and carrot, I don't want hope to be so far out there that it's unattainable. Now, that's where the church keeps it. One day we'll understand it all. One day we'll close our eyes in death and walk with Jesus through the pearly gates or wherever you're going. I don't know where you're going. But your little Jesus with a sandal and robe and long hair is going to hold you by the hand and take you through the promised land. Right? And essentially, that's the only hope we have. Because the devil is out there ruining everything in your life. And hopefully you can gain enough faith and power and whatever to defeat him. You can pray for God to help you defeat him or any of the rest of this stuff. But it just keeps hope out there so far that nobody's going for it. And look, let's face the fact. Men are the worst at this. You got to keep the stick way short. You'd almost have to cram that carrot up the donkey's nose because it's just not in reach that far. Now, the size of the carrot will allow you to put it out a little bit further. But all you women right now that are listening to me, you think that I'm talking to you? You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. It is not your business to give your husband incentive to be better. First of all, you don't know what the heck you're doing. Have any idea how to develop incentive in your husband? You don't have it. Outside of sex and food, forget it. You got no tools in the toolbox. So forget it. So what's the woman's hope here? How can she incentivize? Gosh, am I going to stay with that word? How are you going to do this? What would be the word? I am at a total loss. Incent. To incent your husband. If your intention is to indeed let your husband find incentive, true incentive, you need to send him to Christ. And I don't mean with your finger wagging or pointing the direction for him to go. But, there is nothing better for a righteous man to hear from a woman other than, what's the Lord telling you about this? Nothing. There's nothing in the world better to hear. I don't care if you're thinking about what color to paint the house or how to deal with your kid that just got busted for selling dope. Nothing better. Nothing better could a man hear other than Well, what's the Lord telling you about this? You know what that says? Ladies, can I talk to you for a minute? Do you know what that says? That I know who your master is, and it's not me. And when you say that, do you think that a man who has not spent time before the Lord doesn't automatically come under conviction that he has indeed tried to handle this himself? And when you say, what has the Lord said to you about this? And he's left with, well, I mean, within his own self, because men aren't going to admit this right off. Well, I haven't spent any time before him about this. I haven't laid this out before him yet. They're not going to do that. They might say, well, that's still in question. And, these things are still up in the air. And then he runs off and goes and sits by the house in the lawn chair for a while and seeks the Lord. Well, what if he doesn't? Oh, well, then you can tell him what he needs to do, sister. That's good. Good thinking there. Yeah, that's what to do. Tell him what's wrong with him. Tell him why he's got all these problems. Because you know better than he does. Oh, boy. When are we going to quit? The first step to repentance is to stop. It's true. I have turned a motorcycle 180 degrees without stopping, but it ain't fun. I have, reversed my direction instantaneously, but it's dangerous. The first step to take is to stop and then turn around and then proceed. You getting tired of my examples, my metaphors? I just want you to know that it may very well be that your husband doesn't make positive strides in the right direction. He just seems to have just kind of stopped and gone inside himself. Well, good. That's great. Great news. He's on his way. He's doing just fine. Well, I just feel like I need to help him. Well, forget it. You're not his God. You have nothing to add to him. You can't know what it's like to be him in any sense of the word. You don't know what it's like to be a father or a husband or a boy or a man or anything. You don't know. So what's your hope? You need to make sure, first of all, that he's got the time. Because if a guy gets home from work and he's got to do the dishes, that'd be a great time for him to spend before the Lord. And some of them have learned to do that while they do the dishes. Bless their hearts. Good for you. And I ain't against the guy picking up his own socks. But you need to cherish your men and give them, make sure they have what they need to spend time before the Lord. Yeah, but he won't. None of your business. It's none of your business. Hey, guys, if you're way too comfortable with me chastising the women about it being their fault, you're not spending time before the Lord, you need to make time. You need to take time. But if you are going to make changes and your intention is to become a righteous man, I got to know, where are you going to get the incentive to do that? Where are you going to get the list to obey the Lord? There is hope for you. The older you are, the harder it's going to be, but there's hope. All right, got to go. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.